Hey everyone, so I'm going to be doing a replay review for one of my good friends, Skirner. He's going to be playing as Odin up against a Hades player by the name of Saga. So I think this is also a very good way for the mid to lower elo level players of improving, because if I review a replay of myself playing or somebody in the top 20, there's only so much you can learn because these mistakes, we're not making a lot of the mistakes that the lower elo players are making. So I think for most of you guys that are watching that are in the mid to lower elos, I think you guys are going to benefit far more from watching these type of replay reviews as opposed to watching a replay review of a top ranked player. Just a disclaimer, guys, I do have a little bit of a fever. I have a very light cough as well, so I might cough during this video. I'm sorry. I could edit it, but it's going to take me significantly longer, so I'm just going to let it go. So hopefully that doesn't bother you guys too much. And yeah, I haven't been able to post a lot of videos recently. I've just been crazy busy, and I'm also fasting. So it's a double whammy on my part. So life's been kind of rough recently, so that's why I haven't been able to play as much, and I haven't been able to post as much either. But I got 2-3 weeks left of this, and then I think I should be back on track. So what are some things that the Odin player should be considering at the start of this game, right? And I've said this many times before, but the first thing is you got to look at your gold mine, right? The gold mine here is in a forward position. What that means is if a Hades player is up for it, he can do an Athena timing where you come with a lot of hoplites, some minotaurs, some toxicity, and he can definitely block you off this gold mine right here. So you want to be very, very careful with that. I also think that putting a temple on the forward position here is not a good idea because what happens is Hades players or any type of aggressive player, before they can just jump on this gold mine, they need a rally point to kind of get enough units out to kind of push the position. So they're going to just rally their units and destroy this temple at the beginning of the game. So what do I mean by that? For example, let's say that he comes with an initial few units. He walks around the temple, tries to harass your gold mine, does a little bit of poke and prod, and bothers you on this gold mine, right? After a while, he's not going to be able to do it, especially if you have throwing axemen in the mix or if you have some other units that are kind of like fostering or benefiting this gold mine. In that particular case, he's going to switch his target. He's going to need to find a different target. And usually that target is going to be whatever building is nearby. So this temple right here is going to be a secondary point of contention for your opponent. So you don't want to give him any type of free, let me just lower the sound a little bit. You don't want to give him any free targets, right? You want to make it hard for him to find anywhere to do damage. Now, is it the worst thing in the world? Probably not, but you can do a lot better than that, right? So now you did a little bit of scouting. All right, so you see there's quite a few on gold. I'll just make this revealed a little bit. And it looks like there's some food going on there. So your opponent doesn't have any production facilities at this point, which is kind of surprising. So let's see what you're looking at right now. So you saw no production facilities. You did see 3 on the temple, which signifies that minotaurs are going to be probably coming out. Sorry, not minotaurs, but cyclops is actually. So in this particular case, you might want to think about going for more of a full Herser build, right? You can add some raiding cavalry in the mix, but if you see that there are 3 guys on favor, then you can easily just go mostly infantry, lots of Hersers, and you can really take care of the position from that. Once again, you didn't scout anything, right? All you scouted was that he had 3 on the temple, and he had no other units in play. Now you scouted the archery range. So if the fact is you didn't scout any type of production facilities, then you know that you might not need throwing axemen just yet because there's no hoplites on the field. So if there are no hoplites on the field, you can just go for a mostly Herser and raiding cavalry mass. And this is really good too because the Herser are going to generate you favor by the second. So you're going to benefit in 2 ways. And that favor you can just use onto your hunt and just keep on expanding your lead from that point onwards, right? So I like this double-pronged raiding that you have going on. It's very, very effective, I think, especially versus Greek players. You keep them kind of bottled up in their base. They have slightly slower units, right? So by being able to do this and controlling 2 control groups of raiding cavalry, it's generally pretty effective. So you're doing very well in terms of controlling the map right now. And now he has his first Cyclops here. Now, you got to start thinking about whether or not you should go to the next stage or if you should just keep on making units. In this particular case, since he's being very defensive, there's two things you could have done, right? One is take a town center and boost your economic lead. And the second is just go for the heroic age, and then you have access to the hill fort, the goatees, and an extra god power as well, right? So you opted for a heroic age, which is a perfectly fine option. So far you're playing pretty good, I think, overall. I like the way you're playing this. You made a few throwing axemen, but you stopped. I really think the raiding cavalry, you're making too many of them at this point. You should also be getting ready to push backwards. You're not going to be able to hold this position, especially if your opponent is in H2 and you're going to be jumping to H3. You're going to have less army than him at some point. So you need to start getting ready to move back. And like you know, right here, he's trying to push forward. As soon as you see your opponent's army push forward, you know that his army is slow. So look at this for a second, right? He has Toxite, which are slow, 4 speed. He has Cyclops, which are slow, 3.5 speed. So what you should do immediately when you notice that you have to give up the position, take your raiding cavalry and go into his base immediately. He's not going to be able to come backwards. Now, he could potentially just try to go for your TC and go for the killing move, but you're almost in heroic anyways. So you know that the raiding cavalry are going to be useless if they're in your base. They don't have great stats in terms of overall combat, just head-on combat. So what you want to do is use them for what they're made for, which is to raid. So I would immediately send your raiding cavalry out to raid. I would send your infantry units right over here, somewhere around here, and get ready to throw down a hill fort. Sorry. And you also want to try to get ready for a second frost giant. So honestly, right now, I'm kind of perplexed as to how you lost this game because you're playing very, very well. I think you're doing a great job. Definitely, I would say just send the raiding cavalry to your opponent's side of the map. But other than that, I am still kind of shocked that you lost this game because you are playing so picture perfect at the moment. So let's just speed this up a little bit and see what went wrong. Now, you would want to just delay this fight for as long as possible, right? You don't want to fight this, especially if you're in H3. You Norse generally have a little bit of an eco edge on the other civs, so the longer the game goes on, at least up to a certain point, you're in a better position. But you don't want your army staying stationary like this. You want to start raiding, right? You want to immediately raid, and you want to position your army around here because that's where he's going to want to attack, right? So your army is positioned in the wrong spot. You got to ask yourself, why is my army here? Like if your opponent starts pushing here, then all you have to do is move these guys back to this forest right here, and you're perfectly fine. So there's no reason for your army to be here. At most, you can kill a couple houses or destroy a couple houses and push your wood villagers back. But not much more you can do. So your infantry units should be positioned at the gold mine, and your raiding cavalry should be positioned in a point where you can raid, right? So yeah, just army positioning is key right here, or else you're going to lose a lot of free units. But you can see that oh wow, very good that you pulled back immediately. That's very good because you saw it with the Raven there. So that's good. And you're going to be able to kill a lot of these units, I would assume. Wow. I don't know how you lost this game. You're playing very well. This hill fort is oh, sorry, it's not even a hill fort. It's a great hall. So, yeah. So, yeah, you're playing the way, I mean, I don't know. I think you're playing very well right now. No major issues. The only thing I can see being an issue now is these Cyclops, once they get to a certain point, you might just lose the fight because of them, right? So you definitely need to get more heroes out. You have quite a bit. You have 3 Goaty and 7 Herser, but I would start making more Goaty rather than make anything else at this point, because you might just flat out lose this fight if you engage it head on. Usually I don't like to take these kind of risks where you're just fighting the army head on. If you know that you have faster units than your opponent, you generally just want to just raid as much as you can, cripple him, and then you want to fight. So this fight looks good, actually. I'm still very surprised. Okay, that's good from him, but still, like, you're winning this fight. Oh, you didn't even need to frost, I think, there, too. You were still winning big time. Right? So, yeah, you're winning this fight. I would probably just... Oh, he's still making Cyclops, too. And you're making a ton of Goaty. So, yeah, I'm really curious how you lost this game. Make sure you micro well. Don't lose your Goaty for free. They're quite expensive, right? But yeah, overall, still very, very strong. You're dominating this game, so I'll be very shocked to see if you lose this. At this point, you won the fight. right? You won the fight twice decisively. I would take a second TC. If you take the second TC, you can get this gold mine, and you can also get these elephants right here, which you did. Wow, very good. Excellent job right here. And you're sending your raiding cavalry to raid, which is, once again, very good decision making. Another thing you can do, which I like to do as well, is just send your raiding cavalry to the back. Now, you might not find anything, but it's going to start making his army position in ways he doesn't want to position, right? Because usually players know that, okay, if I'm on a forward gold mine, he's going to try raiding me. So they usually position their armies there. At this point, I wouldn't fight too much. I would get some hill forts out, right? Which you are doing as well. Once again, very good decision making this game. Eco-wise, you're winning. You have way bigger army. So I would probably just, in this point position, I would probably just try to go for the Mythic Age. I don't think this is a good hill fort, by the way. I think you should have just probably strengthened this side here. You're already on this side, so I would just strengthen here. Maybe one right here. Double hill forts are so much better than just having a single one because they protect each other. I like this raid. Very good raid. Even if you do no damage, you don't kill any villagers, it's still a very good raid because you kind of just divert your opponent's attention span, right? So that's a solid raid right there. Now you're going for 3 hill forts. That's a bit excessive, I think, but still not terrible. But I think the main key for you is you should have probably just 1 hill fort straight to Mythic. And I think you could have just cleared up this game right there and then. This is not a really good spot to fight in. It gives his archers a lot more leverage than yours. I would definitely have pulled back in this position. Yeah, you need to pull back here. Be very careful. You need to understand your army, right? If your opponent has a lot of range units, you don't want to fight in these chokes. If your opponent has a lot of melee units, then you want to fight in chokes. So here was a very, very bad fight. And this is a bad fight in more than one way because now you guys have kind of equalized the game. Just one fight alone has allowed the Hades player to equalize, right? So at this point, you kind of just want to mass out army in age 3. I don't think you're going to be able to get the age 4 timing. You do still have a very good amount of resources in the bank. And you got to remember he has a lot of hoplites on the map now too, so you need to start mixing in some throwing axemen. Or else his hoplites are going to get tremendous amounts of value. The fact that you have all these frost giants is really good, but once again, I don't think I would take this fight. Even if you do win it, he's winning, he's trading a lot better than he needs to, right? So I would definitely not take this fight at this point, but looks like you're doing pretty well. Let's just see how this goes. Still very good, actually. You cleaned up completely. I don't really know how you lost this game. I think every step of the way your decision making has been quite flawless, so you've done a very good job. I am perplexed as to how he possibly... I don't even think I can win from this point onwards if I was playing the Hades. Because you're on... Well, you know what you... Well, you're on 3 TCs right here. How exactly did he win this game? Maybe he didn't win. Maybe you sent me a replay of you winning. Let's see. Yeah, at this point, with this type of army lead, I would definitely just jump to which you are, the Mythic Age right here, and you're going tier, so you can get bravery on these Huskarls, and then go for a backstab, and you're just going to dominate him completely. I'd put down a hill fort here to control this gold a little bit. Yeah, instead of here, I think I would put it right here. But you get... it's not terrible. It's still pretty much fine. I don't think that frost was really needed. You definitely need more throwing axemen, though. I think that's the one thing that you're kind of lacking in this game. You haven't built any throwing axemen. Right? That might even cost you the game. Because you have so many hill forts. You need to throw down some Raxes immediately and get some throwing axemen, especially since you advance through Scotty, right? You can get Huntress Axe. If he wins this game, though, I'm going to be shocked. Because I personally don't see anything that you did terribly wrong this game. Okay, so now you cleaned up your army. But once again, this is all because you're not making enough throwing axemen. I think you've outplayed him on every single front, except for the unit mixes. If you just had some throwing axemen here, you would have won this game, I think, already. Yeah, wow, I can't believe it. Because he has an army of full Hippaspis, right? Sometimes all it takes is like just making the right units. I mean, he's fighting under 3 hill forts now, which is good for you, but I hope that you just add in some throwing axemen after this. Especially now since he's going for Artemis, right? You're just making too many hill forts, I think. It's way too many hill forts. You need lots and lots of Raxes and you need lots of throwing axemen. I mean, Huskarls are good, but versus Hippaspis and Hoplites, it's going to be terribly difficult. You're going to lose every fight, right? Especially, he has... yeah, honestly, I think you're going to lose this game just because you didn't make throwing axemen here. I can't believe it. This is the easiest game for you to win. He should have never won in a million years. Because you played very, very well, I think. Just way too many Huskarls. If you're going to make this many Huskarls, by the way, you don't need to fight his army head on. What I would have done is get the upgrade for Bravery, which gives you bonus damage versus buildings. This one right here. And then I would have just started wrapping around and just hitting him like in the back of his base. And just targeting all his buildings. I would just avoid fighting his army head on. And now you're getting it, so that's good. And good job, you're starting your trade pretty early too, so that's pretty good. And I like how you're constantly mixing in myth units. Very, very good there. And you got architects, I think. So once again, great decision making overall. If you lose this game, it's entirely because of the fact that you didn't make throwing axemen. I think you can even add some ballistas into the mix here. And you shouldn't have done this where their Frost Giants, I think, should have melee unit backup, or else heroes can take them down easily, right? Look at this. You're just losing every fight because you have the wrong units at this point. I mean, his army is not even as upgraded as yours. He's still on heavy hoplites, right? You have champion units. It's very sad to see, because you played a picture-perfect game, except for this. You can even look at the score. 50, you're up in score too. See, the one issue with Norse is you can be ahead all game, but you need to prepare at every stage of the game for what your opponent's going to throw at you next, right? Since your villagers are not the ones building any buildings, you need to prepare, you need to overmake your production facilities. Because if you're going to get pushed in like this, then your army can't fight and build at the same time, right? So it's better to have more than have less. And in this game, I don't think you only made like 1 Rax. You only have 1 barracks. And you're making herdmen here for some reason as well. So I feel like at this stage it's just about making a lot of production facilities. You should have had at least 5 or 6 of these Raxes pumping out units. And just be ready for anything, right? Because you won't have time sometimes to tech switch. And you made way too many hill forts, I think. Like, I like the fact that you made maybe like 1 or 2 on each side, but you didn't need to overmake them like that. It would have been better if you just put like a ton of Raxes down right here, and then you had the eco for it too. You could have easily just produced so many units. Also, don't take fights in choke points against Hades. Like, maybe sometimes it's okay if you're overwhelmingly in favor in terms of the fight, but you're just giving advantages to his range units, right? Also, if you're ahead, you don't really want to. Generally you just want to tech up, right? You don't want to just go try to kill his army again and again and again, because at some point you might equalize, and then you're going to find yourself in a bad position. It's generally better to just get to the next stage. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Skerner, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Message me on Discord if you have any questions, and I will see you guys hopefully very soon. Okay, bye.